Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I bring to you the results for MLW One Shot, along with recaps for NWA Power and an Impact Wrestling / AAA show, Ultra Clash. That is right. We'll not be covering Raw or any AEW Dynamite this week because I decided to go out and have a little fun. So, won't be covering any of that, so we'll just be covering these three shows for today. We'll see what happens Monday with SmackDown, Rampage, and Collision. Might just be Collision. We'll see. But yeah, first I'll start with the results for MLW One Shot, which was actually this past Thursday in New York. So, if you were at the show, sounds like it was pretty fun. So, first matchup, we got a winner-takes-all match for the MLW Middleweight Championship and the NWA Historic Welterweight title from CMLL, as Rocky Romero defends against Mascadora. He successfully retains. Now, we'll see where the middleweight champ stands from here. In a very surprising matchup, we got Mirio Yamashita, I apologize if I'm butchering that name, defending her Princess of Princesses title against former MLW Featherweight Champion Delmi Exo. And Yamashita retains. Next up, bit of a surprise victory as Satoshi Kojima from New Japan Pro Wrestling defeats Filthy Tom Lawler of the World Titan Federation. Ricky Shane Page successfully defends his National Openweight title against Jimmy Lloyd. Sounds about right. Janai Kai successfully defends her MLW Featherweight title against Maki Ito, which, surprised she's coming back to MLW. And then finally, we got Alex Kane successfully defending his heavyweight title against Matt Cardona. Although, post-match, it is revealed that, what's his name? Dang it, I forget. Richard Holiday has returned to MLW, and he is now a part of the World Titan Federation along with his boy, Alex Hammerstone. So, that could be interesting. I could see them going for the tag titles. So, yeah, definitely an interesting show. We now get into the nitty-gritty with NWA Power. Like I said, no Raw this week. I will try my best to get it done next week. As we see the Power debut of the Slime Balls. I am not super familiar with those two, as they take on Casey and AJ Kazana, aka the Country Gentlemen. This match was about average. You see, this was more of a showcase for KC Kazana, because he looked really good in this matchup. Ultimately, after a big old spinebuster, your winners, the Country Gentlemen. Gonna be interesting to see how the Slime Balls bounce back after their debut loss. Something tells me they'll be fine. Next up, we got an podium interview from Samantha Starr, bringing up her lineage as a third-generation superstar on both sides of her family, which, that's honestly really insane. So then she complains, while I'm focusing on my wrestling, I need some help doing some other things. So I hired an assistant who she brings out as the woman she attacked during her training a few weeks ago on Power, which, interesting. Later revealed to be Chelsea, not Chelsea Green, just Chelsea. Pretty much revealing, yeah, we made up, we made amends, and actually, Chelsea, I have a match for you, title match for you, coming up next. It's not for the world title, but it's for the women's TV title against Max the Impaler. So, throwing her, Chelsea, right into the deep end to start, and we go right into that match, and it's over after a clothesline. Yeah, Chelsea definitely got some shots in, but this was Max the Impaler's show. Definitely going to be interesting to see what happens after that. And also it's revealed that this was the Lucky 7 defense for Max the Impaler, which means if she cares to, she could cash in her title for a women's title shot, which could be interesting. Next up, we got the Spectacular's careers on the line as they take out on the Outrunners. If you remember them, Turbo, Floyd, and Truth Magnum are pretty much all over the place in wrestling these days, and they're fantastic. The Spectaculars this time around are being represented by Rush Freeman and Slade, who I believe was on the NWA Australia tour. So, yeah. This was definitely a fun matchup. Outrunners definitely using their tag experience early on to get advantage. Eventually, Slade and Rush fought back after a big old DDT into a top rope white noise. Your winners, the new Spectaculars 2.0. I'm just going to call them the Spectaculars. Next up, we got a backstage interview with Kobe Carino and the women's tag team champions, Pretty Deadly. Pretty Empowered. Pretty Deadly. That's a wrong team. Where Kobe Carino pretty much says, Alex Taylor, you had a lot to say about me. Well, who's laughing now? We run this place, and we'll be defending our belt anywhere at any time. And people won't be cheering your name, they'll be cheering mine. Then Pretty Empowered pretty much reached out, hey, Kobe, what do you think about us? And Kobe reveals, well, I haven't really been watching you guys since you won these titles, so I really cannot say. And they get into a little bit of a shouting match. So, I don't know how that's going to play up. I'm glad these, dual talent interviews are now interacting. So, I think that's really cool. This next matchup, very interesting, as Joe Alonzo takes on the debuting Ray Fury and Luke Curtis. And I'm going to say this was the Ray Fury showcase. This man, he definitely does some good lucha things, considering he's a luchador. Luke Curtis definitely, he's definitely got a little Aaron Stevens in him, which I'm glad someone took some inspiration. But he's also a really good wrestler. These three had a really, really good matchup. But ultimately, after a stomp and a skull-crushing finale-esque move, your winner, Joe Alonzo. So, yeah, I guess he'll be gunning for the junior heavyweight title again. Next up, we got a backstage interview with Daisy Kill and Talos. They reveal they're going back after the Immortals for the tag team title, U.S. tag titles. And they'll be back better than ever. And finally, for NWA Power, we get the debuting Devon Dixon taking on Thrillbilly Silas Mason. And Mr. Dixon definitely showed out for this matchup a bit. But after a try out of Big Boot, that gets countered right into the throw ride for a win for Silas Mason. And then post-match, you got the rest of the Southern Six. That's Alex Taylor and not Kobe Carino. I forget the other kid's name. I apologize. They're starting a beatdown on Dixon post-match. Then all of a sudden, Jack Stain and EC3 make the save. But then as the show kind of ends, EC3 and Jack Stain have a face-off. Jack Stain pretty much says, yeah, I hope you're ready to defend your title, champ. And they shake hands. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Southern Six get involved in that title match somehow. But, yeah, that's not going to be a clean finish. At all. So, that was Power. Definitely some interesting debuts for the NWA. I'm interested to see where that goes. And, yeah, definitely some good matchups. We then finish off this week in wrestling with Impact Wrestling teaming up with AAA to bring us Ultra Clash. Now, this was taped a month before, so this was I guess this was planned to be shown now because Impact is on a little bit of a hiatus. Although we got Final Resolution coming tomorrow, so that should be a fun one. So, this was definitely more of a kind of fill-in type event. Because we're not going to see any new content for a little while, which is fine. I don't mind talent taking some time off for a little bit. So we start off this event with a mixed tag team match as AAA's Cheek Tormenta teams up with Dynamico, I believe the man is, to take on Chris Sabin and Trinity, the X Division champ and the Knockouts champ, respectively. Match definitely has its really good moments, but at one point you see Trick Tormenta go for something. I don't even know what to call it. Either it was a crossbody or a stomp or something, and it incredibly whiffed. Dynamico is a really surprising talent I've never really heard of for AAA. So it was definitely good to see him getting some licks. But after a full Nelson bomb, your winners, Chris Sabin and Trinity. We then go backstage for a Josh Alexander promo. He pretty much says, ever since I came back, everyone has called me champ. And I know how Bound for Glory went. I gave it my all. But you're the rightful champ. You were the better man that night. And then, after Bound for Glory, I went home to Jet, my son, who asked me about my title. And at that moment, I realized I lost a piece of myself. And I will be coming back for that title. But at Final Resolution, I challenged the Motor City Machine Guns. And I found myself a partner in Zack Sabre Jr. And once that match is done, I plan to set the standard for TNA. So, definitely a powerful promo from the former world champion. Definitely happy they're continuing this story. Next up, we got a triple threat match between Mystices Jr., Latigo, and Eddie Edwards. This match was pretty much Lucha Libre at its best. Eddie Edwards kept up really, really well. Pace was definitely, fast and furious, but end of the day, after a massive power slam and a shooting star press, your winner, Myzteziz Jr. We then go backstage for a Trey Miguel promo, which he calls out Speedball Mike Bailey, saying he's been a thorn in my side since he got here. But at Final Resolution, I'm kicking your ass back to Canada. So, definitely going to be an interesting match. That was going to be roll right into a promo from the Motor City Machine Guns. Pretty much saying, we're coming up on our final show of Under the Impact banner. The match between us and Alexander and Zack Sabre Jr. There's some dang good technical wrestlers, but we're a dang good tag team. And we'll be going into the TNA if you think we're going into the TNA debut as losers, think again. So, nice, powerful promo from the Motor City Machine Guns. We then go right into a very weird matchup as Jordynne Grace teams up with Sexy Star to take on Deonna Purrazzo and Maravilla. I do hope I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize if I'm not. This match was weird from the start. Purrazzo and Grace have some great chemistry, but I don't know. Something felt really, really off. Maravilla and Jordynne Grace didn't really work that well together. Sexy Star and Purrazzo did do some good things, but ultimately, I don't know. Something felt really, really off. And then after a really surprise Juggernaut driver, your winners, Sexy Star and Jordynne Grace, which, I feel like it could be a little bit better. It wasn't horrible, but there was something off about this matchup. We go right back into tag team action, this time on the men's side, as Tommy Dreamer teams up with Laredo Kid to take on Brian Myers and Black Taurus. This match was a lot better than the last one. Myers and Dreamer obviously worked really well together. Laredo Kid and Black Taurus have years of work behind them, so they worked really well together. Dreamer and Taurus actually worked really well together too. A lot of high-flying moves going around, including from Taurus, which was interesting. Actually, Taurus, kind of near the end, went for a dive and then gets hit by a cookie sheet from Tommy Dreamer. Maybe should have been a DQ, but I understand with AAA it's a little different. Dreamer then setting up a table in the corner. Laredo Kid with a couple destroyers from the top. And, your winners, Laredo Kid and Tommy Dreamer. Dreamer then picks up Myers on his shoulders. It's a Death Valley driver through the table. I don't know what that was about, but, whatever. We then get a Trinity promo saying how hyped she is for Hard to Kill to be the next TNA Knockouts champion. I'm walking into that show, the last Knockouts champion. Does that mean the Knockouts are being discontinued? Are they going to call it the TNA Women's title? Because I don't love that. Anyway, in comes Jordynne Grace. Pretty much says, look, I know we're going to be opponents at Hard to Kill, but for this Saturday, we need to be on the same page. Are we good for now? Trinity's like, yeah, we're good. And Grace walks off. We then get another very interesting tag team match as Josh Alexander teams with Octagon Jr. to take on Toxin and Moose. Yeah, this was a very fun match. It's very surprising to see Josh Alexander and Toxin work really, really well together. Then Moose and Octagon Jr., was pretty much Moose throwing Octagon around a little. So yeah, some really nice back and forth, including some really good high flying from Octagon Jr. Ultimately, after a spear, your winners, Toxin and Moose. We then get a Tommy Dreamer promo, pretty much saying, look, Final Resolution, it's going to be the last Impact show, and this Saturday, Deaner, I'm defending this title against you. Now I'm going to reiterate, 2023 was the worst year of my life until I won this, the Digital Media title. This gave me hope. Final Resolution, I'm going to beat you, Deaner, and I'm going to take this title into Hard to Kill. Then we get a very unexpected announcement as Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, is making his return to TNA at their tapings after Hard to Kill. Now, I say return because in 2009 or 2010, he did technically join the TNA roster. It was when he was a young boy, which is crazy to think about nowadays. And TNA didn't really use him that well. Like, I wasn't expecting him to be a world champion, but he was pretty much dressed up as the assistant to the Green Hornet, if you guys ever read that comic. And yeah, for years we've been saying, we've been hearing from Okada, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And now to hear he's coming in 2024. That's another, as CM Punk would say it, hell has frozen over moment. Like, that's insane. And I can't wait to see it. And in our main event, we got a 6-man tag team match playa as the Motor City Machine Guns, that's Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, team up with El Hijo del Vikingo to take on the team of Trey Miguel, Latigo, and they kept saying it was Toxin, but that was not Toxin. That was, not La Rosa Negra, but, Abismo Negro. That's who it is. I guess they didn't want to potentially get demonetized on YouTube, but that's who it was. This match was a little bit slow to start, but ultimately the pace got picked up a lot, especially when Vikingo came in. Like, Jesus. That dude is like the Energizer Bunny of wrestling. Definitely some really good back and forth, some good lucha action. But ultimately, after a middle rope Phoenix Splash, your winner, Vikingo and the Motor City Machine Guns. Fun little match to end the show, and fun little match to end my review. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Coming up Monday, I will be giving you the results for Final Resolution. And I hear we're going to hear Will Ospreay's opponent for Hard to Kill. Ooh. Should be interesting to see there. And, and then we'll probably review SmackDown, Rampage, and Collision. We'll see what happens tonight. That's my plan anyway. So, till next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.